Good day, my name is Dion Imperial from ECE21 and I will be conducting the experiment 2 Python literal operators. The objective of this study is to become familiar with the print function and its formatting capabilities. Number 2, to practice coding strings using literals, and lastly, to experiment with Python code using various operators. Before I start the experiment, I would like to conduct a short background check. Um, Literals. What are literals? As we say literals are notations for representing some fixed values in a code. Python has various types of literals. For example, a literal can be a number or a string. The number in a various forms such as decimal, binary, octal, and hexadecimal. The binary number uses the base 2. Okay? And let's talk about integers. Integers are one of the numerical types supported by Python. So Python is basically integer. Floating point number are another one of the numerical type supported by Python. Next, to encode an apostrophe or a quote inside a string, you can either use the escape character, example, I I'm happy, or open close the string using the opposite symbol of the one you wish to encode. E.g., I'm happy to encode an apostrophe, and he said the Python, not typhoon, to encode a double quote. Boolean values are the two constant objects, true or false, used to represent truth values. Operators are special symbols or keywords which are able to operate the values and perform operations. So the materials needed is same as the experiment number 1. All you need is a laptop or a computer or a desktop with a stable internet connection and a Python installed. Okay, number 1. Create a source code for the given scenario below. Expected input is this. But, so let's try this po. Clear. So print. Then let's, yeah. Then F5. Invalid syntax. So why is it invalid syntax? Because we should put backslash because we use an apostrophe. So the input will go like this. Then let's try this. So that's apostrophe we copied. Let's try this. We're wrong again, but let's try this again. Okay. So the I'm learning Python is complete. So let's try. Observe the output of the exponential arithmetic operation. Let's try this. And copy. Then click it in the notepad. Then F5. So we got an A 8, 8.00, 8.0. So the observation around this is the first line consists of integers, and integer is also a result of a syntax. But the second line, as I observed, it is a non-integer exponent. It has a it has a decimal point or a float that result to syntax. For line 3 and 4, the same goes since it is consists of a non-integer base and an exponent. So float will be syntax. As long as the base or exponent consists of a float or both, the result will be a float. So, integer doesn't have decimals, then you can call it float when it's an integer. So, observe output of multiplication arithmetic operation. Let's try multiplication. With this code, let's delete this, then this, and F5. Okay, we got a 6 for the first line, second line 6.0, and same goes to the others. And for this definition, the same goes to the first observation. They are all syntax because some of there are the first line is in integer, the second line and so on is a float. Then let's start the division operation. Okay. Okay. It is all a float. When you run the first line, it's syntax. Keeping in mind that both of the dividend and divisor do not consist of a float, but still result to a float. So there is an exception to the float rule while dividing, since a float without respect to the float rule will always be product of the divisional operator. Okay, next. The integer division arithmetic operation. Um, so let's try this, guys. Okay, we got 2, 2.0, 2.0, 2.0, then 1 and 1.0. When using a double slash symbol, which is an integral divisional operator, keep that in mind that when using a double slash, it means you are using an integral division operator. The exception to the float rule in division will be disregarded and the result will still be rounded. So if one or both the dividend and divider consist of a float with an integer divisional operator, then the syntax will also result to a float. Keep that in mind, guys. As for the first and fifth lines, this resulted into the rounded integer because opposed to the rest of the lines where it considered of a float, that resulted in a float. It does not consist of any float at all. Ang daming float pero keep that in mind. So imagine that number 6 na tayo, guys. Imagine that we use slash instead of double slash. Could you predict the result? Is it even possible? Let's try. Yes, it is possible. We got the result of -2 and -2.0. The first line is an integer, the second line is a float. If you use an integer divisional operator to run the syntax, the result will be -2 for the first time and -2.0 for the second line, as the rounding goes to lower to integer value whereas -2 is less than -1. Now, if we use the normal divisional calculator operator, because of the exception to the float rule in the normal division operator, both lines will result in -1.5 and thus will not round off. Okay, number 7, guys. Observe the output for each remainder arithmetic operation. Print 14% for. Let's copy paste this, guys. Let's not waste our time. Wait lang, guys. Okay, first line 2. The second line is 3.0. This number 7, the observation applies for the existing method, as the first line does not consist of a float, and the float rule applies to the remaining arithmetic operation so that the outcome will be an integer. Number 8, observe the output for each additional arithmetic operation. Let's copy paste. F5. 0.04.0, -1.1. So let's see the answers. The float rule still applies as I have run the code, but the first line does not contain any float, so it will never be an integer. But the second and the third section composed of float will also result to a float. Then let's try these exercises. Mhm. Let's try this. Let's try this. Then let's try. Okay, the answer is correct. The answer is this. Okay. Okay. Answer is correct. I'm just double checking, guys. I've already done this. Okay, guys. Thank you, guys. I therefore conclude that the print function definitely have a lot of capabilities, possibly does not hit its limits because Python is a very wide range of arithmetic, mathematical, and programmable program. It is very, you can be creative, you can input codes. So we can say that if we use Python, the sky is the limit. Okay, we don't need a calculator, but instead we can use the Python literals, and the calculator can be replaced by the calculation that is performed by the operators. These operators and literals are actually a loophole which you could work around for several different ways, several different codes, and this is very versatile for you to solve your problem, to experience every problem, and to how to conquer them. And I will highly recommend this because you can have fun while solving. You can have fun by coding and coding function and codes and and having experience in this experiment. I have very a lot to learn. Thank you, guys. Thank you, sir.